Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Dak Cohen Podcast. I am your host, Dak Cohen, and today I am here to talk about a few things, that's been going on ever since the last ever upload on November 28th of this year. And I wanted to get one final podcast episode in before we head into the new year. It has been a while, so uh yeah, my interview with my cousin Jack probably I thought went very well. So yeah, we'll see next. On our agenda today, uh we're going to talk about some sports, and then we're going to talk about some political stuff, but then that will be it. Um Here's something that is very surprising that is coming out of New York. Jet star quarterback Aaron Rodgers. It will likely be medically cleared next week, according to multiple sources. Aaron Rodgers, after being cleared to practice, Aaron Rodgers will likely be cleared to play this upcoming week. But being medically cleared doesn't necessarily mean that Rodgers automatically will take the field on Christmas Eve against Washington. Rodgers and the Jets organization still need to get together to discuss if returning next Sunday is the next step they want to take. Much could depend on the outcome of the Jets' Week 15 game against Miami. And if New York still has any chance, even infinishable, of making the postseason, Rodgers has the knowledge that he won't be 100% until after the season, but said he's willing to play if the Jets are in the playoff race. The four-time MVP has also said it wouldn't make a ton of sense to return if the Jets 5-8 are mathematically eliminated. But the fact that Rodgers is 40 is is even in position to be medically cleared from a torn Achilles that he suffered 4 plays into the Jets season opener just over 3 months ago is something of a medical miracle. Jets head coach Robert Salish said Friday that Rodgers looked normal earlier that day in practice and remarked that his speedy recovery was unbelievable. If he was if he were to play after being medically cleared, and there are significant questions that both sides will have to address and answer. Rodgers would return to play faster than almost an athlete in memory. Running back Cam Akers returned from a torn Achilles in just over 4 months during the 2021 season as a member of the Rams. Rodgers was said to have 2 impressive days of practice in the last week, leaving his coaches and teammates thoroughly pleased with what they saw. But Rodgers also didn't have to endure any outcome pass rushers, especially from the pocket, or do some of the things that he would be forced to do in a real game. The Jets have until Wednesday to in their activate Rodgers to their roster. If they don't, that makes that roster move by Wednesday. Rodgers cannot be activated this season. It's also possible that they would activate him by Wednesday, but not play against the Commanders. Really? You don't want to play against the Commanders? Jeez. Something coming out of Kansas City. Here's something that's fucking stupid. I may be a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but here's my take on this. NFL has fined head coach Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes for a total of $150K, which is very little money. I was very upset with this decision. Here's why. Kansas City coach Andy Reid was fined $100K and quarterback Patrick Mahomes $50,000 for violating NFL rules about public criticism of a game official, a source told ESPN. Mahomes was also cited by the league for unsportsmanlike conduct after yelling at the official late in last week's loss to the Buffalo Bills. Both were upset with an offside penalty on Chiefs wideout Kadarius Toney. That wiped out what would have been the go-ahead touchdown with less than 2 minutes remaining. Instead, the Chiefs would wound up turning the ball over on downs and losing the Bills 20-17. Reid said he and his offending player are usually warned by the official before being penalized. Reid called it a bit embarrassing in the National Football League that Toney was penalized. Mahomes said the penalty call was elementary school stuff. That's wild. Hoping for prayers in the basketball world as legendary center, and his name is Cap. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar breaks his hip and falls at an LA concert. Yeah, I don't know how it. I don't know how, but here we go. NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been hospitalized after suffering a broken hip when he fell at a Los Angeles a concert in Los Angeles, as Representative Darnell Morales told multiple outlets Saturday. Abdul-Jabbar, 76, was taken to the hospital Friday night after falling at the undisclosed event and had undergo surgery Saturday. According to Morales, no other details about his condition were released. Morales said Abdul-Jabbar was deeply appreciated. The Los Angeles Fire Department, which treated him at the scene, and the amazing medical team at the doctors at the UCLA hospital who are taking care of him. A Hall of Famer who won NBA titles with the Bucks and Lakers. Abdul-Jabbar is the only 6-time MVP and was the NBA scoring leader until LeBron James broke it in February. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Chargers fire coach Brandon Stanley. Finally. He was a terrible coach for this Chargers team. After 2.5 seasons highlighted by lofty expectations and routine letdowns, the Chargers have fired Brandon Stanley and general manager Tom Telesco, the team announced Friday. Jeff Smith, the team's outside linebacker coach, has been named interim head coach. JoJo Wooden, the Chargers director of player personnel, would step in the general manager role as intern basis. The Chargers were 24-24 under Stanley, with one playoff berth in 2022 that ended up with a 27-point blowout to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the third largest comeback in the playoff history. He is the second Chargers head coach to be fired mid-season since 1970, joining Kevin Gerbride, who was fired in 1998. Owner Dan Spardo said in a statement that Chargers fans deserve more. The Chargers hired Stanley because of his success as defensive coordinator under the Rams in 2020, when they were the NFL's best defense in points and yards allowed per game. But Stanley never had that impact with the Chargers, despite having star talent and many of his former players. Stanley's defensive frustrations came to a head after Thursday's 63-21 drubbing by the Las Vegas Raiders, who were starting backup Adrian O'Connell and were without running back Josh Jacobs. Quarterback Easton Stick made his first start for Los Angeles in place of Justin Herbert, who suffered a fracture to his right index finger in Sunday's loss to the Denver Broncos, and is done for the season. This is the second coach that the Chargers have fired since drafting Herbert in 2020. Herbert's first coach, Anthony Lynn, was 33-1 from 2017 to 2020, including 7 for 9 in his final season. The team also fired Jay Rodgers, the defensive run game coordinator and defensive lineman coach. Oh boy. Yeah, Brandon Stanley is no longer the head coach. Here's my take on it: is that Brandon Stanley kind of deserved it if you look at it. Brandon Stanley. Yeah, he kind of deserved it if you think about it. He he's only 41 though. Let's look at his career. Yeah, no, he was at 500. Not below 500, just 500 alone. This shows them on the Chargers website. Here we go. Okay, so Brandon Stanley as being a coach. We're just gonna look at the NFL because it looks like he mostly coached high schools and colleges. Okay, so his first ever coaching stint was from 2017 to 2018 with the Chicago Bears as the linebackers coach. Then with Denver in 2019. Then the Rams as defensive coordinator in 2020. And then the Chargers as head coach until they fired him recently. So yeah, good for the Chargers organization. They deserve better. Because if I look here alone, they're just not doing that great. They find themselves being 5-9. They are 5-9 on the season, and are in 2-game losing streak. Yeah, no, good for them. I mean, Brandon Stanley towards the end of this whole thing was kind of just not their fit. 49ers already clinched the wild card. Okay. But yeah, no, good for the Chargers. I hope they find a better head coach to hire during this offseason or for a little while. We'll see what happens. But it's just in due time, you know. I do believe that this franchise can do something to get on the right track with their coaching ability because their quarterback is not horrible either. So we'll see. Um, Here's my prediction of what's going on right now. AFC East, Dolphins, and Bills. The Dolphins are going to make the wild card. The Bills, excuse me. I could see the Bills getting a sliver of hope of making the wild card. It's a 50-50 shot, though. They're 7-6. We thought they were going to be electric this season. Some of us, at least. We'll see. AFC West. Yep, the Mighty Chiefs are definitely going to make it in there, no matter what. Even though we're on a 2-game losing streak, but that's because of the fucking refs. And then we got our head coach and our star quarterback fine. But the NFL wants to be the NFL. The Broncos, believe it or not, I'm saying this right now. I could see the Broncos making the wild card. If they can, who are their next 2 games against our? Oh, okay. The next 2 games are against the Patriots and the Chargers. So, if they win against the Patriots, which they most likely will, and the Patriots won't pull off an upset, then I could see them going 9 to finish the season 9-7. So I could say the Broncos are probably going to make the wild card. AFC North, Baltimore 10-3, definitely going to make the wild card. The Browns also going to make the wild card. Bengals, you guys have a sliver of hope. You guys are 8-6 currently. And your next 2 games are against the Steelers, which you guys will go, if you win this next one, you guys will go 9 and something. But you definitely will lose to us on December 31st. I just realized we played them on New Year's Eve. Chargers eliminated, Raiders eliminated, Patriots, Jets eliminated. Jaguars can make it in there for sure. Colts, the Colts can make it in there as well. What's their schedule looking like? Falcons and the Raiders, yeah, they'll make it in. They'll make it in. Texans and Titans are eliminated, but the Texans, believe it or not, if they win their next 2 games against the Browns and the Titans, then their star quarterback C.J. Stroud, their rookie, could possibly make it in the playoffs. Watch out for the Texans. We'll see. Now heading to the NFC. Let's see here. Cowboys and Eagles both making the wild card 10-3. Giants and the Commanders have been eliminated. The Commanders were doing great at the beginning of the season, and then they just crumbled apart midway through it. NFC West, we got the 49ers going 10-3. They are the only team that's going to make the wild card. The Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals are all eliminated. Lions are going to make the wild card for the first time in God knows fucking forever. Holy fuck. I can't believe it. The Bears finished 5-8, so they're eliminated. Packers, they're eliminated. Vikings have a sliver of hope. Never mind. I changed my mind. They don't. They're eliminated. I just saw who they were playing against next. So they may be screwed. So I'm gonna say it's a 50-50 shot for the Vikings. And then NFC South. Oh boy. Every team in the NFC South is so fucking bad that we just don't know who's gonna make the wild card. Minus the Panthers. Panthers have already been eliminated. The Panthers and Patriots have already been eliminated for sure. And the 49ers are the only one to clinch the wild card. Buccaneers and Falcons and Saints. Let's see. What about the Buccaneers here? They're playing the Packers tomorrow on Sunday Football, and then they play against the Jaguars and the Saints. They're gonna lose the one against the Jags, but can probably make the one up against the Saints. I'm gonna say the Buccaneers make it. Falcons gonna make it as well. Okay, let's see. Falcons make it as well. What about the Saints? Rams and Buccaneers. It's all up to that last game. But yeah, I could see the Buccaneers and the Falcons making it. So that's my take on everything that's been going on right now. Oh yeah, by the way, Draymond Green got suspended again for right hooking Yusuf Nurkic in the Golden State versus Phoenix matchup. God, we'll see how long the suspension will last for Draymond, but it's just not looking good for this Warriors team. Just like a couple of days after Draymond was announced being suspended, Chris Paul was trying to help one of the other team's guys up because he did a hard foul on him. And then Daniel Tice did not like it, and so then him and Daniel Tice got into it. So the Warriors are becoming the new bad boy Pistons, is what it looks like to me. But just my Stephen Curry on that team. But it's the Warriors. They have nothing to really play for at this point. In time, right now, at least they don't. But yeah, that's my take on everything. And I've been doing fine, everyone. This will be the last podcast episode for this year, for sure. I will make a podcast episode at some point in time next year in January. I promise you that. I don't know when, but maybe it'll be sooner than later. We'll see. But anyways, that was my take on everything and the updates that I brought to you guys. I am your host, Dak Cohen, and I will see you guys next time for another edition of the Dak Cohen Podcast. Your host, Dak Cohen, out.